Hello all. In continuation of our fraud awareness and fraud education, one more thing that is very relevant and important to understand is, especially people who are academic in the academic line may are studying it may get confused with. There are two aspects: forensic accountant and fraud examiner. See, the difference is very important to understand. Actually, I have given a PPT almost a year or two back, which I'm going to repeat again after this brief introduction. One should be very clear cut to understand. You see, the statutory auditors, internal auditors, and all these, they are not always considering their limitations possible to detect fraud, nor it is their duty. Okay, yeah. So when there is a suspicion of fraud, or when there are like acquisition, or when there are some mergers or acquisitions or takeover, or when there is some suspicion of fraud, or where fraud has occurred in organization, some other department and all this one, or like in the financial analysis, okay, or when there is in the case of litigation support, uh, investigation and assisting in disputes, fraud detection, finally computer forensics. In all these, basically, forensic accountants are involved. Forensic accountants are also the qualified chartered accountants or CPAs, and they have all the adequate resources and the knowledge to go deep into these aspects, to give a financial analysis, to find out the things, and also suggest remedial measures and all that. Corporates and all may employ a forensic accountant to look into a specific aspect, and to see what are the any loopholes are there and things like that. And at times they also may investigate a fraud that has already happened, and find out remedies and other things like that. So actually, it's a very thin line like that. But basically, one broad aspect is that foreign sick accountants are qualified accountants, and fraud examiners can be need not necessarily be a qualified accountant, but they can be certified fraud examiners and CFVs, and also CAs also can do fraud examination, but not necessarily he should be as a qualified CPA or CA. Apart from that, there is very thin line, and both do exhaustive works. But only thing is, in the case of forensic accountant, there need not necessarily be any fraud as such, but it is only maybe to just look into the aspects to see if there are any scope for a fraud or any things like that and other things. And whereas in a fraud examination is purely for examining a fraud that has occurred, circumstances under which it occurred, how to prevent it, how to stop it, and all that. And in both the cases, basic thing is evidence. Evidence should always be collected properly, and also forensic actually is, as explained earlier, means something which is admissible in law. Whatever report or statements made by the forensic accountant, even in a fraud examiner also has to, in case if he is investigating a fraud, has to submit a proper report with proper evidence and supportings and all that one. And so, like that, the difference are quite a few are there, which is very highly essential from, especially from an academic point of view, and also people when they are reading about a fraud, even a layman about a fraud in a newspaper or a news item, and when the word comes forensic accountant, fraud examiner, there may be a confusion, but it's actually both may be doing the same works, and the objectives may be same. Only thing, the scope of the forensic accountant is much bigger, and the forensic accountant is a qualified man, and they need not necessarily be a fraud. In the case of a fraud examination, he need not necessarily be a qualified accountant, but he is a qualified fraud examiner, and also he will detect and go into the aspects after fraud has happened. Both the cases, there should be evidence which is admissible in law. Forensic accountant is also may be required to appear before a court of law where needed. And as well, of course, a fraud examiner wants a thing, and if the other parties contend that there is no adequate evidence or something like that, then okay, fraud examiner has to prove that he has adequate evidence. So, in the present day context, forensic accountants have become part of all major accounting firms, specializing in fraud detection and prevention, and helping the courts of law by giving evidence of financial wrongdoings. Courts depend on expertise of forensic accountants in all financial litigations and disputes. So, the importance and need of a forensic accountant has become necessary due to failure in the routine audits, the intense economic pressures with companies facing bankruptcies and employees losing jobs, all these in turn giving away for frauds by the employees or even employers and the top management, as we have discussed in various issues and cases in my other PPTs and video lessons. So, the need for the role of forensic accounts as a statutory and internal auditors are only watchdogs, but not for detecting and unearthing frauds. Okay, we need bloodhounds, and there could be forensic accountants. So, all these I have appropriately presented in a format of a table in the PPT, which I'm going to repeat again, and it may be going through. So the role of a forensic accountant is gained importance, multiple layers of fraud, employee embezzlement, vendor fraud, customer fraud, financial judgment, fraud by management, and stock market scams, etc. And also in takeovers, in mergers and acquisitions, things like that, and all that one. So it's a very wide and deeply, it requires a very focused accounting principles knowledge, and that's why only a qualified CPA, a qualified chartered accountant are appointed as forensic auditors with adequate experience in the Big Four and all these things. Okay, so he helps in partnership and shareholder disputes, personal accident claims, employee frauds, insurance frauds, etc. Okay, and as you know, the importance of forensic accountant why? Because of big foreign financial scams like Enron, Sachin Computers, and other corporate frauds, which we have discussed elsewhere. Okay, so the role is very wide and much broader in the case of forensic accounting. Important skills needed for the role of a fraud examiner: should understand the business, technology used in the organization, softwares used, and others, versatile experience in the field of industry where fraud is examined. And the evolution of fraud examiners has come after the late 80s, as there were no formal mechanisms to deal with frauds. Okay, so but over the years, the incidence of frauds has grown in a massive proportions. We all know, you open a paper, you go in the news, or you type in the Google frauds for the day, you'll get enough to to just read the whole day. Okay, the role of a specialist fraud examiner is recognized by corporations to deal with frauds. So, with these words, I have presented all this in the PPT earlier, and I'm going to just repeat after my this brief introduction, and we keep moving on with briefs on various aspects of these frauds, and I hope this small effort is helping one and all. Thank you. Good day.